Okay, it's time to play a little game of Spot the Difference. Just because it's a game I found myself playing the other day. The device I'm reviewing today specifically is the Amazon Echo Dot. It's the fifth generation of this. Now, this is not a new device. It's actually been out for a couple of years, 2022, well, nearly a couple of years anyway. But the reason I'm reviewing it is literally because I just happened to get sent one when I was reviewing another device, and I hadn't had to play with one before, so I thought I would run down some of the features for you if you were looking at considering one. But the interesting thing, of course, I discovered is that I did already have a fourth generation Echo Dot, and so that's from 2020. This is from 2022. So, yeah, how do we tell the difference there? Well, physically, there are some differences. They are quite subtle, though. So if we just look at the controllers, the buttons on those, you can see that the newer Gen 5 one has got the lighter buttons, darker buttons on the Gen 4, and then there's a more obvious way to tell them apart if you turn them around, and although they do take exactly the same power supplies that fit in there, you'll see that there's also a 3.5mm auxiliary input there. So yeah, you used to be able to, with the fourth generation one, hardwire a device in there to play it out of that speaker. I guess nobody was doing that. I've certainly never done it. That's why I assume that they got rid of it, because they didn't really need to. I don't think anybody cried too much about not being able to plug something via wires into that, especially when they can Bluetooth to it, or of course you can stream from it. It's not the only difference, of course, but most of the differences happen under the hood of the new Gen 5 device, which I've gone into in more detail in my review. One of the main things, of course, is that it has a new and improved faster chip, and we can demonstrate that quite clearly by firing them up, and you'll see how fast one fires up over the other. So if I just quickly plug in the old one first, and then we plug in the new one, so a few seconds later, and you'll see these two devices firing up. And hopefully you'll get a message on the LED display once they come to life. And just while they're doing that, I mean, obviously there's a bigger driver, so you get a sort of a better, clearer sound over a bigger range of frequencies with the new model as well. There are also motion sensors in this, temperature sensors. So yeah, it's offering you a lot more, basically, than the fourth generation device. And there you go. The new one's won the boot up race. It's saying hello. We still haven't got a hello from the Gen 4 yet. There we go. We're coming. So as you can tell, I plugged this one in after this one. So yeah, that's just a little demonstration of how much faster the Gen 5 works. And as you can see, there's another difference once you actually power these things on. Can you see the difference there? If we look, can you see? Yeah, the display. So this is the old style digital display. So it's made up of lines for digital numbers. But as you can tell, if you look closely, the Gen 5 has a dot display. And the reason for that I can demonstrate pretty clearly if I get these speakers to play. Computer, play In the Summertime by Thirsty Merc.
In the Summertime, single version by Thirsty Merc from Spotify.
Pause. So as you can see, the new Gen 5 version display, it has the scrolling words across there. It was telling you the artist and the song. So yeah, it can give you various different kinds of information. When you ask what the temperature is and all that sort of thing, all that stuff will be displayed on there. So you're getting a little bit more information if you just decide to keep that display on. You don't have to keep that display on. But the really big secret, well, I call it a secret because it's something I don't think is that well known out there, is how much easier Amazon Echo devices are to pair together as like a stereo pair than a lot of other devices. A lot of devices I review and you think they're more or less the same device and you think you're going to be able to make a stereo pair or pair them together, and because they're different generations you just can't do that. I've actually paired these together as a stereo pair, and you wouldn't have really been able to pick that up from that little bit of music that I played just then, but it does sound really, really cool. You get the full stereo effects. And as I've always said, these Echo dots do put out some pretty impressive sound for their size. And it does mean that if you have a device, and I showed you this when I was reviewing it last week with the new Echo Hub device, it doesn't have very good speakers. These are the tinny little speakers at the top, and so you really do need to pair it with another Echo speaker, preferably, or an Alexa-enabled speaker, and so you can pair these two together as stereo devices. So I'm not talking about two speakers playing the same thing. I'm talking about left and right, and it actually produces a really good sound for not very much money. I think the Gen 5 is only just over $100 for this speaker, and you can probably even pick up a much cheaper Gen 4 one, maybe even second hand, and you can pair them together. I didn't know that, so I just thought I'd share that good news with you.